All right, I had a unique opportunity to sit down and chat with Courtney Stephen, one of my really good friends, former Canadian Football League player. Just decided to hang him up this past year. He's played a long time with the Ticats, Calgary, Stampeders for a couple years, signed back with the Ticats, and recently just decided, you know what, it's time. And now he is the director of, community development. I hope I got that correct. He has always been a leader in that community, leader of the community. He does so many things off the field. So that position for Courtney works perfectly. And we got a chance to sit down and talk about that transition. Check it out. All right. My bro, Courtney Stephen, look, man, welcome to the CO2 Run Dwn, man.
Hell, I'm glad to be here, man. It took you long enough, but nah. Honestly, I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, but this is what's special about this one, Courtney. You're my very first CFL player, now former CFL player,
Alum.
to be on the show. So you're breaking this thing wide open, man. And I'm excited to have you. Man, we missed out on a lot of content. We were chatting before hitting that record button, but
Hey, when sometimes it just flows and you can't stop it, but I'm sure we'll catch up right where we left off before you hit that record button.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Yeah, brother. So, Courtney, what's the official pro career? Is it 8 seasons that you
Well,
got in?
I actually laced them up and played in 7 seasons over the course of like 8.5 years. So 2020 would have been my 8th year, but that was the year when the pandemic shut the league down. And at the end of that year, contracts, they continued as if the season was played. So I became a free agent and I signed again with all intent to play for 2021. But then that season got pushed back further. So in June, that would have been my 9th year, but my 8th season. But as things progressed, the world keeps turning, man. And it's like you can wait and you can wait and you can wait and sit on your hands and just, you know, put your future in somebody else's control, or at a certain point you can take over the reins and decide to start steering the direction of where your future is going to lead. And that's what I decided to do. So ultimately I played 7 seasons. I don't know the exact number, but something like 110 or 115 games over that time. And yeah, man, it's crazy. Looking back, it went fast, and I'm just glad that how things worked out. I'm going to be able to stay around the game and still do a lot of the things that I love to do outside of actually playing, which was, being knee deep in the community, getting to meet people, shake hands, make a difference, and really pay it forward with all the experiences that I've had.
Man, that's huge. And again, for those that are watching and listening, this is Courtney Stephen, recently transitioned from being a Canadian Football League player to player relations. Is that kind of what's your official tag with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Court?
Yeah. So my job title is the Director of Community Partnerships. So,
Oh, that's right, Director of Community Partnerships, which is something you're pretty much been having your hands in for years now with overtime football, running all of these football camps. You were in the communities out there in Hamilton, Oakville, Mississauga, just, doing your thing in the off seasons. And so the community already loves you. You already have a connection with the community. So I think the fit is perfect.
to be honest, like it couldn't have worked out any better. And to just tell a little story really about how well it actually is a fit is, you know, for me personally, I have a unique story or a unique path of how I got to play pro ball. And I guess everybody's story is unique, right? I don't think there is one beaten path. And if there was, you could try and walk it if you want, but you're going to have to, veer off at some point or another. But, I played in Canadian University, and then I transferred and I went to the NCAA. I played for a D1 program in Northern Illinois. I got injured in college, and then I ended up going back to Canada, playing in the CFL. And when I went back to Canada, back playing close to my hometown in Hamilton, which is about 35 minutes from my hometown called Brampton. I found that the experiences I had being a Canadian, going to the US, coming back to Canada, and then playing pro ball so close to where I grew up, there was a lot of information that I had gained from all those different places I'd been that so
Yep.
many people were searching for. So what I did was I packaged it up into a youth mentorship program that focused on sports, social skills, and school. And we were able to, I mean, you were there. We taught so many kids, not just about how to come out of their breaks better, how to catch the ball, how to read a defense, how to read an offense, and all those kinds of things. But we showed them this is how you navigate the academic system so that you can use this athleticism you have as a tool to help get you further in that next level, help you
Yep.
get into a post-secondary education, help you build your resume for a job. And so, just from that experience of building a youth mentorship program, I learned that, one, I love to pay it forward. Like for me, I've done so much stuff and never been paid for it because it wasn't about the money. It was because when you see the light bulb go off in a kid's head, when you're teaching them that little thing or you're showing them something, or you take the time to take a picture or sign an autograph or give out your player cards, when you see that switch go off where it really makes somebody's day, or you can tell that they're going to carry this lesson forward in the future, like that's worth it. And so being in the community left such a heavy impact on me that when the opportunity came around for me to, put my hat in the ring for the position of community partnerships with a professional sports organization, there was no way I could turn that down because I'd already been taking practice reps so that when I got the opportunity to step in that ring, it was so natural to me. And this is just, I feel like it's something I'm called to do because, I did it for free. And now it's like I'm going to be able to support my family and get paid to continue paying it forward to everybody who supports all these players who go out there and put on a show every weekend.
Man, wow. I mean, you couldn't have shared it and explained it any better, brother. And this is leading me to the main reason why I wanted to have you on and bless everyone that's going to be watching this is that transition. Athletes transitioning out of sport is one of the hardest things that 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 they'll have to go through. I went through it, and even though you're thinking about the future, you can't think about it as much when you're in the game, because if you're trying to be the best player on the field, Courtney, you got to give everything you have to the game. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, it's geared towards being the best possible athlete, football player that you can become this upcoming training camp, the upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really dip too far into the post football career things just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Although you had your hand in it, you couldn't be all the way in because there was still the game that required the majority of your time and your efforts, right? So the transition is what I want to talk to you about now. And you've done you didn't even have to try. It just kind of happened. And that's very fortunate. Not a lot of people have that little transition, as smooth as a baton in a 4x. Well, not all transitions are smooth.
We done seen some people step out the lane before, drop the stick.
Step out the lane, drop the stick. But in this case, stick, you got it, and you kept on running.
Mm-hmm.
So transition in sports, let's just go big with it, right? Courtney,
Mm-hmm.
transition in sports, how important is it for an athlete, knowing what you've had to go through personally,
mm-hmm.
and then you started paying it forward to try to educate these young people, these young athletes on those skills that they're going to take with them so that they can transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How important is it for athletes to really know that there's going to be a transition period?
Man, that is what it's about. That part at the end, what you say right there is that you know there's going to be a transition from the very first day that you step on campus in college, or for the very first day when you're a rookie in rookie camp and you come into the locker room and put on your shoulder pads for the first time. you're getting closer and closer to the end from the very
Just on the
first
just
day.
on day one? On day one?
That's it. Because it's nothing's guaranteed, first of all.
Eh,
The average career is going to be 2 to 3 years, right? And even in
max.
college, you know that you have a limited time. You're going to play maybe 5 years to play four, right? Or something like that, right? So transitioning has many aspects to it. You know, as a pro, when you're transitioning out of football or out of whatever sport, or even if you're in a different career and you're transitioning from one career to the next, there's a financial aspect, right? There's a personal identity aspect. Then there's
That's a big one.
the social aspect of it. So there's many different layers to this transition. So to your point, like while you're in it, you want to stay in it as long as you can. And the only way to do that is to keep the main thing. So you have to, you know, put your attention and your time on being the best that you can, but knowing every room that you step into, there could be your future employer in there. There could be a relationship that will be an important relationship to have. There could be information to learn. There could be a mentor in there. There could be somebody who's going to sponge off of you. Every room that you step into, you have to step in there, allowing the world the potential to change your life. You know what I'm saying? And you do that by putting your best foot forward, always being open to talk to everybody, and just knowing that whatever defines you today doesn't have to define you forever. So,
Oh, look,
yeah,
hey, hold on, Court. Say that one more time in case someone missed that.
no, that is real because what might define you today doesn't have to define you forever. And I think one of the best ways to eventually mature and get to a place where you can find peace in things is understanding that the only constant is change. And that is not just external, like that can be an internal change too. At a certain point in time, only thing that mattered to me was football, right? And as life went on and things evolved, my life got more complex, and the things that I wanted out of life and the things that brought me fulfillment also evolved. So, not to say that football got smaller, but the rest of my life expanded to the point where now football wasn't 100%. Maybe it made up 95% of the pie. Then you have kids, and it makes up a smaller percentage of the pie. And then maybe your body feels a little bit different, and you're starting to think, well, maybe my long term health is a bigger part of the pie, you know? And then
Mm.
the trade offs that you make physically, emotionally, time, energy, those trade offs slowly begin to weigh a little bit differently against the opportunity cost of you actually doing something else. So I think as a player myself, um, and retiring is never something that you can do on a moment, right? I think it's for a lot of guys, it's a back and forth decision for months until there's some catalyst to push them over the edge. And for me, I think it was unique coming out of the pandemic because we took a year off. It was the first time since I was 8 years old that I was not playing sports for a whole year. Like it was weird to me. It was weird to me, but in a sense, it gave me an advantage that I knew what it might be like to not play, and it wasn't that bad. And so
Mm.
a lot of the fear was taken away because I always consider myself more than an athlete. But then, literally, when you're in your house and everybody's in the house and you can't go anywhere because the world shut down, you got to really look in the mirror and say, like, when everything else is gone, when nobody else is home, like, who are you and what do you really want out of life? You know, football's gone right now. For me, it was like family and community. And those were things that kept coming back to me. So knowing I never cut a corner, knowing that I never skipped a rep, knowing that I was never, you know, slacking. I always held up my end of the bargain. I had no regrets. It was one of those things where I could make the decision to step away from the game in full faith, knowing that every door that I stepped into, I was open to the possibilities of that being the day that changed my life. And, you know, when you walk away from the game, of course, there's stuff you're going to miss. You're going to miss the locker room. You're going to miss traveling on the plane, you know, being with the guys and going out for dinner and celebrating after a win, being in the weight room, you know, just hitting the max when there's like everybody's cheering. Like there's different stuff you're gonna miss, but at the same time, you missed a lot to sacrifice to get to that point, and now it's time for you to go and reclaim that. So, uh, man, like it's just a level of clarity you have to reach in order to go through a transition, and you're going to reach that clarity either before you enter, during, or sometime afterwards. And it's just a matter of accepting that it's not going to be a straight line, and just accepting that sometimes you're going to think you got it figured out and you don't. Because I retired, I accepted a different job, and I ended up not taking that job because a better opportunity came, and I'm glad how things worked out. And this is something that I haven't really even talked about yet, but I didn't know that this Tiger Cast job to be the community partnerships director, I didn't know that that opportunity was even going to be there when I retired. Like that came after the fact, but it was like you said, you know, you focus on doing the right things all the time, and when you're doing the right thing and you're in search of an opportunity, that's when the opportunity comes to you. Like an opportunity
Stay ready
never.
so you ain't got to get ready. Like
Exactly.
you're ready.
An opportunity has never fallen out of the sky on somebody who wasn't searching for it. And if it did, then you probably weren't ready to handle it and you probably fumbled your blessing. So it's like you gotta continue to work towards your goals so that you have the opportunity to capitalize on them. When those doors just crack open, you can kick it in.
Man. Well, Courtney Stephen is blessing us today with all of these golden nuggets, man. And you're preaching to the choir. I had my struggles. I had those moments. I had those times. And it's funny you brought up the pandemic of sort of like an experience of not having the game for that while. And now when you said that, I thought about it. And I think through that as well, that time also gave me clarity, because it forced everybody to evolve
Mhm.
and mentally more than anything. Then I had to evolve and I started doing other things. And then you know, yeah, I do miss a lot of things about the game. I do. Um, but like you said, one thing that I don't think a lot of people know, and maybe they missed it, while we sacrificed and played to be committed to that, we did miss out on a lot of things outside of the game.
Mhm.
And now you're saying it's time to go and reclaim those things. And that's what I'm in right now, Courtney. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I got this show. I'm an actor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing other things. I'm golfing more. I'm doing more training. I'm able to do a lot more other things. I'm in the community, and it's been amazing,
Mhm.
right? And I have that peace of mind. So, going through that part of being away from the game and realizing, like, okay, that's gone, like you said, here we are. Who are you? And what are you going to do? What's your focus? What do you want to do? You know, that's a huge thing that athletes need to spend time with. We're seeing it right now in the Olympics, the mental health.
Mhm.
A lot of these athletes are coming out and the stage, whatever the reasons are being that they feel like so much weight and so much pressure, the mental health aspect. So when it comes to transitioning, a lot of athletes have gone through depression, they've gone through those mental health things because identity, right? Who am I now? I'm not an athlete anymore, a former. So social media, all of that pressure, things, so I think the sooner athletes can spend time with themselves,
Mhm.
thinking about their future,
Mhm.
and separating their identity from the sport they play, and digging deeper into, okay, who am I really, and
Mhm.
what's the true legacy that I'm trying to leave behind,
That's a
not
big one.
as Chad Owens the football player, but as Chad Owens the person, the father, the
Mhm.
friend, the
Right.
community guy, or whatever it may be. The sooner as athletes that we can detach ourselves from the athlete, I
Mhm.
think that will help in assisting the transition.
Yeah, and I also think that having that self-awareness allows you to be free to be the best athlete that you can be, because then it removes a lot of nerves and gives you the freedom to just play, right? And just play because you've practiced the same catch thousands of times, but in your heart, like, if I drop this catch, like, the world doesn't end. So I have the freedom to go out there and just try to make the
Right.
wickedest play that anyone's ever seen. Because if I don't get it, then it's like, yeah, you're gonna be disappointed, but like, the world keeps spinning, you know?
Right. Right.
So, and I think that's one of those perfectionist things that a lot of us deal with, is that when you're so laser focused on success for so long, that you put these expectations on yourself that make the thing that was so much fun stressful. So getting to the point where you can step back from the game and see the game as a game, right? You know,
As a game.
when you
As
transition
a
from
game.
college to pros, it goes from the game of football to the business of football. But if you can find those ways to hold on to what you love and what is fun, and doing something that is such a privilege, that's when you have the freedom to actually be the best.
Hey, all the youth out there, hey, youth, the pros, everybody that sees this, you just got to keep it fun. You heard it. Keep it fun, keep it loose,
Mhm.
just keep enjoying the moments, and just, man, don't worry about the pressure. Eliminate what people think, and go out there and try to make that spectacular play. And if it doesn't happen, oh well, you go back and try again, right? Laugh it off.
Mhm.
That's huge, huge advice,
Mhm.
Courtney. Look, man, we can sit here, and we've sat together, Courtney, and had crazy conversations. We can sit here again and talk for hours. Partly, I think, because we haven't seen each other in a while. We haven't really spoken in a while, and we're trying to get a really good catch up. But I just want to, go back to the CFO for a second. How is it going? How's training camp? How's the league? Like, what's going on? Because I know it's been pushed back. It's a later start than usual.
Mhm.
But what's the overall feeling like? I know it's exciting that football is back. The CFL is back. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So
How is it in the Hammer?
at the time of this recording, I think we're about 6 or 7 days out from the first kickoff of the year. So today is a cut down day for a lot of the teams. They just finished a training camp, which was tough. It was different because this year there was no preseason games. But everybody's excited, man. Everybody is chomping at the bit to watch some ball. It's been so long since we had football up here, and the fans are just they got stored up energy. They can't wait to spend. They got players out there who've been, cooped up for so long, ready to show what they can do. And I think it's going to be telling about who had what opportunity and who took advantage of that opportunity during that time off. Because maybe some guys fell off for a while and had to claw back, and maybe some guys stayed down for the whole time, dedicated, right? So I'm excited to see how this all plays out when the season opens up, and who's going to be sharp, and if the favorites from 2019 will carry into 2021, because we've never seen
Mm,
such a gap in time from the Grey Cup, from the championship to the beginning of a season. So it's pretty much anybody's game, and I'm excited, honestly, to have this vantage point to watch.
yeah, man. Ooh, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. It is going to be interesting, and it's going to show. Hey, if there's one thing that football shows, Courtney, and you know, is it's who's been on their game. It's who's been training. If you're someone that comes in, and I think the Riders dealt with like three Achilles tendon tears, like early.
And I don't know what the exact number is to date, but I think across the league there's been like 6 or 7 Achilles injuries, and I think that's something that it's very unfortunate, but it's almost to be expected that there's going to be some soft tissue injuries because there's been so much time off. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to step out of my lane and talk about things I don't really know about, but I would hope to see that guys get in shape. That the strength coaches and the coaches and the coordinators they get some workout schedules that are going to be accommodating of whatever the situation is. Whether guys are ramping up, or maybe guys have to get back used to being in football, because it's a different kind of game. Like, it's a different kind of shape. No matter what you do in the gym or on your own, like, football has a different toll that it takes on your body. So I think part of the strategic element of playing what's going to be a 14 game season this year, they reduced the schedule, is going to be, how do you manage your roster, right? How do you
Mm.
make it
How do you take
through?
care of guys? How do you stay
Exactly.
healthy?
Exactly, because there's going to be a lot of short weeks where you don't have the full 7 days between one game to the next. Um, the travel schedule might be a little different. You may have, you know, a cluster of road games at the beginning of the year. If you're a team that's from a city that had high outbreak of COVID during the time, you know, I think they built in some scheduling things to just try and accommodate for, you know, what if scenarios. So there's going to be a lot of dynamics that coaches haven't had to deal with before. And honestly, you don't wish this kind of stuff on anybody, like to have these kinds of logistical issues and all that kind of exterior stuff to deal with, but it's going to really show what coaches can really manage an entire organization, the ones who make it through all 14 games with the most healthy people and with the most wins, right?
Yeah, and that's the key. And it's and in the pandemic, outside the pandemic, I think that's always been the tell-all, right? There's things in football, in sports in general, but a lot more in football that if these things happen, penalties and turnovers, right? That's the number one stat. We know that. Management of players. You know, we've been to multiple teams. I've heard the stories of different coaches, different things, training camps. We all talk in the off season. Some coaches take better care of their guys. Guys are more fresh. Guys are getting overworked over here. Guys are doing so. All the things that equal winning, I think will remain the same. But now we're just adding a little bit more wrinkles that the coaches and players have to deal with. And so I think the more experienced groups, the more experienced teams have a slight edge going into the season.
No, you're right, because a veteran player didn't become a veteran player by accident, right? We already talked about the average career is going to be 2-3 years, right? So if you're somebody who's in their fifth, sixth, seventh season, you probably have certain habits built into your routine that's going to allow you to have that kind of longevity, right? So having more of those guys around who's just going to pull the younger guy after practice and be like, hey, look, listen, we're hitting these tubs, cold tub, hot tub, stretch, foam roll, or, you know, I'm going to an extra, you know, massage, yoga session, come with me. The people who have that kind of influence, because if you can spread the do a little extra mantra through the team, I think that goes a long way.
Oh yeah, man, a long way. And so look, brother, I think that's all the time we have. I want to keep going, but look, I can always bring you back on, maybe on Labor Day. You know, I got to get a few of the guys on, man. I got to get Jeremiah on. I got to get Speedy B on. Give those guys my love, man. Give
Absolutely.
those guys my love. And matter of fact, I got to hit up Matt, Alaman, Matt, the video guy. Alamang, bro. He has my hard drive with all my footage, film. So if you bump into him, say, hey, I just chatted with CO. He wants his footage, because I gotta share that with the world, Courtney. I gotta put it out there.
They've never seen the Flying Hawaiian.
I mean, they've seen him, but I wanna show it again. I wanna show some practices. I wanna show some game footage. You know, some other things that maybe they haven't seen.
Show them the record-breaking seasons, man. Make sure that they know. Make sure that they know. Look, I don't know if you brag on yourself, but I done seen this man in a phone booth, putting grown men on their back, on their knees without touching them. Listen, dealing with one of the greats, man. It's been an honor. I really do appreciate it. It's always amazing to just share the aura and just be in your energy, man. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to tell my story.
Nah, man, it's just the beginning, bro. You got so much more to write. That book is coming. I know it. So look, brother, congratulations on an amazing career, football career. Football, you know, and that's just such a small portion. Like I said, man, this next phase, I think you're going to be making an even greater impact, Courtney, in that community, in the youth, and in the CFL, man, just in general. So congrats on everything, brother. Love to the family. I know the kids are probably getting bigger. And I know you guys have recently just moved again and getting settled in. So look, man, enjoy all that good stuff. Love you, brother, and I hope to talk to you again soon. We will.
Appreciate you, CO.
No problem, brother. Mahalo.